All right, ready for a deep dive. Today we're tackling the English language, but not the usual grammar rules. We're talking about something a little different. Like, how do you actually know how good your English is?
Yeah, that's a good question, isn't it? Like, where are you on your English journey?
Exactly. So we're going to break down this thing called the CEFR, the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages.
It's like a measuring stick for your language skills.
Yeah, from like A1 beginner all the way to C2, which is like, wow, you basically mastered English.
It's kind of like climbing a mountain. Each level is a base camp.
Well, I'd like that.
Yeah.
So how does knowing your level on this CEFR thing actually help someone learning English?
Well, think of it like having a weight map. Like, let's say you're at a B1 level.
Okay.
You can have everyday conversations, maybe get the main points of the news.
Right.
But then you know what to work on next, right? Like maybe more complex grammar or idioms.
So it's like you're working smarter, not just harder.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So let's break it down, starting with the beginners, A1 and A2. What does it actually mean to be at those levels?
So picture this. You're in a new country. You don't speak the language.
Okay, I've been there.
A1 is like, the basics. Greetings, asking for directions.
Like survival phrases?
Exactly. Then at A2, you start building on that.
So you can do a little more than just survive.
Yeah, you can talk about yourself, maybe your family.
So you're not just pointing at the menu anymore. You can actually, like, order food.
Right.
Okay, I'm liking these beginner levels. What about those in-between levels, B1 and B2?
All right, so at B1, you're getting more independent with English.
Okay.
You can, understand the main points of TV shows or write an email.
So you're not just surviving. You're actually, living life in English.
Yeah. And then at B2, you start to really go deeper.
Ooh, deeper.
Yeah, more complex texts. You can really express your opinions.
You're starting to sound more like a native speaker at this point.
Yeah, your grammar's better, you know more words, and you can follow tougher conversations.
Nice. Okay, so we've climbed the beginner and intermediate mountains. Now, what about those sea levels, the peak?
Now we're talking fluency with finesse. At C1, you're almost like a native speaker.
Really?
You can handle complex stuff like academic articles, literature.
Wow, you're pretty much an English pro at this point. But wait, there's still another level, right? C2? Like, what even is that?
That's like reaching the top of Everest. You've mastered it. You understand pretty much everything.
So I bet some people listening are like, wait, what level am I?
Uh-huh, right.
So any tips on figuring that out?
Well, there's a lot online, placement tests, quizzes.
Okay, that's helpful. And I bet knowing your level helps you find the right resources too, right?
Definitely. Like, if you're B1, you're not going to be studying the same stuff as someone who's C1.
Makes sense. It's all starting to click. Okay, how about we put our CEFR knowledge to the test? Got some examples here.
I like it. Let's do it. Okay, so let's imagine you're at a cafe. You want to order coffee. How would you do that if you're at, the A1 level?
A1, so just starting out, I'd probably just say coffee, please. Keep it simple.
Yeah, perfect. Gets the job done. Now, let's say you're A2 and you want to get fancy. How would you order a latte with skim milk?
Ooh, okay. Latte, please. Skim milk. Something like that.
Yes, you're adding more details, right?
Leveling up my coffee order.
Yeah.
Okay, now imagine I'm at B1 and I need to book a hotel room. What's that going to sound like?
So at B1, you should be able to handle that. Tell them the dates, ask about rooms.
So I can, ask about Wi-Fi and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll understand what they tell you back, even if it's a little, hotel-y.
So I'm not just saying room, please. Anymore.
Haha, right. You're using more complex sentences, more words.
This is cool. Okay, what about B2? I want to have a real conversation with someone about, the news or a book.
Okay, so at B2, you're ready for those deeper conversations. You can give your opinions, explain things.
And maybe even throw in some idioms.
Yeah. It's not just about the information. It's about how you express it.
This is impressive. All right, now I got to know. What about those C levels? C1, C2, what's it like to be at the top?
Well, at C1, you can basically blend in with native speakers.
No way.
Yeah, you can talk about almost anything, understand the nuances.
So, I could watch a movie and get all the jokes.
Uh-huh, probably. And then C2, that's like you've mastered English. It's second nature to you.
That is wild. Okay, but realistically, how do people figure out what level they are?
There are lots of resources online, like placement tests, quizzes.
Okay, so you can get a pretty good idea. And then once you know your level, you can find the right stuff to study.
Yeah. It's about being efficient. If you're a beginner, you don't want to be trying to read Shakespeare, right?
Makes sense. This is all making so much sense.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Learning English can be hard. What are some of the biggest challenges people face?
Well, I think one of the biggest ones is just being scared to make mistakes.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You get so worried about sounding perfect.
Exactly. But you got to let go of that. Mistakes are part of the process. Everyone makes them.
So it's more about progress than perfection.
Exactly. And another big one is finding the time to practice. Life gets busy.
True. So how do you stay motivated even when you're, like, super busy?
I think it helps to set small, achievable goals.
Okay, that makes sense.
And also to find ways to make it fun, like watching movies or listening to music in English.
Ooh, I like that. It's not just about studying.
Right. And don't be afraid to try different things, like maybe an online course or finding a language partner.
It's like you got to find what works for you.
Yeah, because if you're enjoying it, you're more likely to stick with it. So true. Okay, so we've talked about the CEFR levels. We've imagined ourselves doing all sorts of things in English.
And we've talked about some of the challenges and how to deal with them.
But before we wrap up this deep dive, I have to ask, any final words of wisdom for anyone out there learning English?
Well, I'd say, first of all, be patient.
Yeah, patience is key.
Absolutely. Learning a language, it takes time. You know, it's not going to happen overnight.
There are going to be good days and bad days.
Exactly. And be persistent. You know, stick with it, even when it gets tough.
Don't give up.
And maybe most importantly, be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to make mistakes. Everyone does.
That's so important. It's easy to get frustrated with yourself.
It is.
Yeah.
But, you know, just remember that every step you take, it's bringing you closer to your goal.
It's all about the journey, right?
It is. And it's such a rewarding journey. You know, learning a new language, it opens up so many doors.
Like you're not just learning words, you're learning about a whole new culture.
Absolutely. New ways of thinking, new perspectives. I love that. So, to everyone out there learning English, we're rooting for you.
Keep practicing, keep exploring.
And remember, have fun with it.
That's the most important part.
All right, well, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the English language.
From A1 beginners to those C2 masters.
We've talked about the challenges, the tips, and hopefully inspired you to keep going.
And remember, the real adventure begins when you take what you've learned and use it in the real world.
So go out there, talk to people, watch movies, read books.
Explore the world of English.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive. But until then, happy learning, everyone.